welcome to my show. In today's show I will change a tire, um, and you can also use this if you got a flat tire in the middle of nowhere, then you know how to do it. So here's how I'm gonna do it. Okay, first of all I will show you the new tire versus the old tire. The old tire here, I've been driving around 13,000 kilometers on this, and it's not very round anymore. It's a little bit flat, and the pattern is nearly worn. But actually, I've been very glad of this tire, so I bought a new one, and it's the same tire I bought. It's a Mitas E07, and they run very long mile, and actually it hadn't let me down, even if I've been running pavement or I've been running gravel. It just works. When you have put your bike to a stand so you can turn the front wheel, then you have to take off the front wheel, and you start taking out a screw here and two screws here on the right side of the bike. Then you can, when you have removed these three screws, you can take off this, and then the guard, and then you will get into the screws. After taking the guard off, you have to take off the cable to the speedo cable, and that you do by loosening the screw here, and then you just can take up the speedo cable. After we have loosened the speedo cable, we can just take it off, and then we free of this. When you're taking off the speedo cable, you take a 10mm wrench, and then you loosen the four bolts holding the front axle. They're sitting here next to the speedo cable. Don't take them off, that is not necessary. You just have to loosen them, and then you're ready to take off the front wheel. After you have loosened the four bolts, you take a 17mm wrench and take and loosen the axle bolt. This you just screw out, turn it, and turn it, and then suddenly the axle will loosen. There it is. After you have loosened the bolt, you can take it out there, and then you can take your front tire off. When you have loosened the brake, you can take the front wheel off, and you're ready to change the tire. After we have taken off the wheel, we put it on the ground, and if you got a 750, you got brake discs on both sides. If you got a 650 or Transalp, then you got a brake disc on one side. The easiest way is to take the side, if you only got one brake disc, with a brake disc and put it upwards, because will use your brake disc to take off the tire. You start by taking off the air of the tire. I have a small tool like this, but if you don't have a tool, just take out the air by pressing the little button. But this tool, you can take off the small thing in the valve, and then you can take out the valve, and then you can take out the air. And take care of this one, because you have to use it again. After we are taking off the air, we have to brake the rim, and that you do by pulling down. So the tire will get off the rim and down in the wave in the middle of the rim. Before you take the tire off, you have to loosen this one that's holding the valve. That's a nut, and it's a 12mm socket. And now you're ready to take off the tire, and you do it by pulling down the tire in the middle so it can go into the curved piece of here. Then you have some tire and iron like this. You can buy them everywhere. And then you go to the other side, put them down, take them over, and here you have to use your brake disc. Put them under your brake disc, then it's locked. And then you simply just work your way around the rim. And after a short time, you can just take off the tire in one side. So, if you got a flat in the middle of nowhere, you will only take off the one side, and then you will take out the tube and repair it with a what's called in English, but you have a put on some glue and put on some the one to repair it, and then you put it back together again. But I have to take off the whole tire, because I have to change the tire. So first of all, I will take off the tube. I'll do that like this. Just pull it out. That's the tube. Now there was a little washer here. That was on the tube. We have to take care for that. After we have taken out the tube, we do the same again. Loosen the wheel from the rim, and then we just have to take the tire off, and you simply do the same again. You work your way around off the rim, and after a short while you also have taken off the tire. So now I have the rim, and I have taken off the tire, and I'm ready to install the new one. Before you put on the new tire, you have to do two things. On the most motorcycle tires, there's a arrow, and this arrow says which way the wheel should turn. So when you put it on, then you have to be sure that you put the wheel the right way. So the wheel will spin this way, the arrow says, when you put it in back on your motorbike. The other thing you have to do is to take some baby powder, because when you're driving with a tube, you can get some friction between the tube and the tire. And to avoid this friction, you have to put baby powder or talcum inside your tube, inside your tire, or between your tube and tire. And you simply do that by putting in some baby powder in the wheel, and then you just turn it so you have baby powder all over the inner tube, the inner tire. So when you put in the tube, you have some powder inside here. To put the tire on again, you take some WD-40 and you just spray it on the tire where it should sit on the rim. It's much easier for you to put on the tire afterwards. So this side is a speedo side, and here I have my arrow, and the wheel should go this way when I drive, and yes, so I placed it right. Then I just put it down here, and I can press the tire actually very simple over the rim, and it's on. Now I have to put in the tube, and I do that by finding the tube hole or the valve hole. And in here, that's actually the tricky part of the show. You have to take the valve out of this small hole. There you have it. And afterwards, you put on the nut that's holding the valve, not going into the rim again. You just put it on a little bit so it will not go into the rim, and then you can put the tube back into the rim. Now I'm ready to put the tire back on, and I do the same now as I did before. I just give the tire a bit of WD-40 before I take it on the rim. Then it will slide on the rim much easier. Then I take this tire iron again, and now I have to, of course, push the tire over the rim. And here also I use my knees to hold the tire. And you do the same the way as on the other side. You just take and work your way around the rim. And now your new front tire is on the rim. Then you put the valve back into this one, and of course you tighten it up. So we can get some air. To put air into your tire, you need a compressor. I have this mini air compressor I can use on the road, and I can use it at home. I think it's good because it can do the job even at home or in the middle of nowhere. I just put the wire to my bike, to the battery outtake on my bike, and then I can put some air into the tire. When we will put air on the tire, we will put it up to around 5 to 6 bar, because this will set the tire right on the rim. Then afterwards we can take out some air and put the right pressure into the tire. Now I put a lot of pressure in my tire, and now I can see that the tire is sitting perfectly on the rim on this side. And if I turn the tire and the wheel, I can see it's sitting perfectly on this side also. So now I'm ready to balancing my new tire. To balance my tires, I will use this tool. They are not very costly, and you can buy them in a lot of bike shops, and it's simply 2 pieces with bearings on and an axle to put on the wheel. You can also buy some fancy stands and so on. I don't use this. I just bought this. I put these bearings on the top of my chairs in the garden, and then I'm ready to balance my wheels. To balance the wheels, I just put this in, and then I tighten it a little bit with this one. And now I can put on the tire to these bearings, and you will see on the side where the tire is heavy, it will come down. So, and it often the valve, there's a heavy part of the tire. See, here's a valve, it's going up, and now it's going down again. So I will think where the wheel stops is where the weights to balance the wheel should be placed at the opposite side. So that's the heaviest part of the, down here, the valve is the heaviest part of the wheel. So now you have to place up here some weight to put it, to even out the weight difference between the valve and the wheel, and the missing valve in this side. Before you put on the weight on your wheel, you have to clean where the weight should be. So I just clean it a little bit, so I'm sure that the balancing weight will stick to my rim. When you buy balancing weights, you get it like this, and then there's I think there's around 5 grams in each of these. And what you do is you take off this, it's like a sticker, so you take off the blue mark, and then on this side that's up, you can put the weight and just press it on so it will stay there. Now I have put in 10 grams on each side of the rim, and you will see that if I put the valve now on the side, the rim will stay. If I put the valve in top, the rim will stay still. And even if I put the valve on the other side, the rim will keep on being in balance. So now the wheel is totally in balance and is ready to be installed back on the bike. Okay, now you're ready to put the wheel back on the bike. But before you do that, you have to separate the brake discs a little bit. To separate the brake discs, you just take a screwdriver and put it into the brake discs, between the brake disc, and just twist it a little bit. It's very easy to separate the brake discs on this bike, and you can just do like this, and then you're ready to put the wheel back on. On the other side of the wheel you have to put the spacer, and on this side of the wheel you have to put the mount for the speedo drive. After you put this back on, you just have to screw this one in again, the axle back on with a 17 millimeter wrench. And you have to put your brake back, and that's not that difficult. Just have to be sure that the disc goes between the two brake pads. We can put the axle back on. And this you tighten. And you, of course, you make sure that the wheel can spin. Then you put back the speedo drive. Put back the screw that holds the speedo. And then you tighten the 4 nuts in front here. They're holding the axle in this side. And of course, you have to make sure that this cannot loosen. But these balls are self-tightening, so it will stay. And now we should just check the wheel. You Looks very nice. So we just have to do one thing before we finished. That's to activate our front brake, because when we loosen the pads, there will be some space between the pads and the discs. So activate your brakes until it gets hard, and then you have to put this back on and you're ready to go. Thank you for watching. Bye.